in this contest, neither one of the major parties won a 50% of the vote, so they couldn't put a government together. They had to form a coalition government. There was a splinter party called the FDP, the Free Democratic People's Party, and they had about 7% of the vote. So negotiations went on for about 30 days until finally the two big parties got tired of it. The FDP was demanding way too much power in the government in light of the contribution of 7%. Finally, the two big parties decided to put together a grand coalition. I want to read for you the article. This was in Time magazine, December the 9th of 1966. Listen to what it said. A grand coalition of the two major parties, the Christian Democrats and the Social Democrats, that have bitterly fought each other for years. Now listen to this. A union of black and red. It was a marriage of convenience, but a stunning match nonetheless. I couldn't believe my eyes. Here in Time magazine, they are revealing to me what I suspected to be true already. I knew that red was the color of communism, but black is the official color that the media uses to refer to capitalism. And I had never known that. I thought that this was a symbol of capitalism, but I did not know that black was the official color of capitalism.
So you suspected, but you had no proof. I mean, it's not hard to prove that the internationally recognized color of communism is red. That's not a concept.
Sure, red China,
yeah,
red Russia, red Romania.
But not too many people. I never knew that black was what was the color that was used to describe capitalism. But you start to see you suspected it, but you had no proof. Now you've got proof, and now you start to see through the course of time. It's subtle. You have to be looking for it. You have to be attuned to it. But black is the color for capitalism.
And by the way, Eddie, I have found many other proofs of that from that time until now. So I went from being a little bit uncertain to being absolutely positive that the color that officially represents communism is red, the color that officially represents capitalism is black. And then I understood why God picked a red horse and a black horse, and it dawned on me that these are the spirits that make people do what they do. They're the spirits that dominate the discussion in the classrooms of colleges around the world. They make governments hold to certain policies. A socialist is going to do certain things. If you know even the political party of a person, you can almost tell where they stand on every issue because the spirit of that party. In America here right now, the Democratic Party in times past, I'm not sure it's true today, but in times past, has been the Socialist Party, more or less, whereas the Republicans were stronger toward free enterprise. I think those lines have now become somewhat blurred on us. So consequently, if you ask a person 5 questions, you can almost take the answers and figure out who that person is, because the spirit of that particular political agenda has controlled them. And that's what's being said here in this prophecy. These are the 4 spirits that go forth into all the world. They're controlling the kings of the world. They're controlling the media. They're controlling everything that is done. It's really a stunning understanding. Okay, now we've seen the identity of the red horse and the black horse. So we've established some things that are pretty easy to understand once we have the information. We need now to go back and take a look at the white horse, because it's not as easy until you understand the other two. Eddie, I'll never forget a book that I stumbled across. I actually was speaking at a church in Indianapolis, Indiana, many years ago. And I was puzzling over the identity of the white horse. I had just understood the black horse and the red horse. Communism, capitalism. When I looked down in this pastor's office and I saw a book, and the title of the book was Communism, Democracy, and Catholic Power by Paul Blanchard. Now, here's what it said in the book. It said that almost every conflict between nations in modern history has been produced by conflicts among 3 powers: communism, democracy, and Catholicism. Now, I was really interested in this. I read this book. It was not a religious book. It was a political science book. It was a very scholarly book, very well written. And as I read through this book, this author was contending that these are the powers that control the course of nations, and that almost all wars have been fought among these three powers in modern history: communism, democracy, and Catholicism. Well, a little while later, I came across another book. This book was called Keys of This Blood by Malachi Martin. And Eddie, I think one of the things that made this book so interesting to me was that Malachi Martin said the same thing, that there are three powers that rule the world: Catholicism, communism, capitalism. And I knew that this writer was one of the foremost Roman Catholic writers, and so I knew he was not using this to slam the Roman Catholic Church. Right. He was simply stating what he knew to be true. And in his book, Keys of This Blood, he made some interesting observations. He stated that there are three geopolitical powers with the necessary doctrine and structure to rule a world government. And those three powers are communism, Catholicism, and capitalism. He was saying in this book that in the 1990s there was going to be a global government to emerge. He said, there's no doubt about it. All nations are now interdependent. It's going to happen. Now, we're very deep into that right now. We're not totally into it, but we're very deep into it right now. Well, Malachi Martin in the early 90s, I think it was 1991 when I bought this book, said that there is going to be a world government, and the story of the 90s will be the story of the struggle between the three powers that have the ability to rule a world government. He said there are only three on the face of the planet that could do it, that have the necessary doctrine and structure to exert that kind of global control. So obviously I was enchanted by this book because it backed up what I thought I was seeing in the prophecies of the Bible. So I went back to the Bible to see if this description given in Revelation chapter number 6 of the white horse could possibly fit Catholicism. Let's read it one more time, Eddie.
Revelation 6:2, and I saw and behold a white horse, and he that sat on him had a bow, and a crown was given unto him, and he went forth conquering and to conquer.
While I'm trying to decipher all this, why, first of all, would the horse be white? And I came across the information that the Pope always dresses in white. I was reading the Roman Catholic book, and they said it's been tradition for centuries now that the Pope almost all the time dresses in white. Of course, he's the symbol of the Roman Catholic Church. But then it got more interesting. I also found out that the Pope has a bulletproof vehicle that he's used ever since the assassination attempt in 1981, and this vehicle is called the Pope-mobile. That's white. Then I learned that he has a helicopter. Matter of fact, I have pictures of him, the helicopter. And his helicopter is white. Alitalia Airlines donates a 727 jet airplane for the use of the Pope. And can you guess what color that is? Of course, it's white. Let me ask you this question. If the Pope had a horse, what color would it be? The prophecy of the Bible says that this rider rode on a white horse. Now notice in the passage it says that he had a bow. It does not say he had arrows. Apparently he has weapons, but he's not shooting live ammunition. He has a different kind of weapon. That would certainly fit. And also notice in the prophecy that it says a crown was given to him. The popes did not wear crowns until about 960-something A.D. Pope Gregory was the first pope to take a crown. Now the Pope has the very famous triple crown tiara with the inscription on it, Vicarius Filii Dei, which means Vicar of the Son of God. So all of these passages fit, and I went from being very confused and not knowing what this meant to deciding, Eddie, that I had stumbled onto something very critical and very important here, and that was the actual identity of these spirits. And I had to ask myself a lot of questions. Now, before we go into some of those questions, though, let's finish with the last horse, the pale horse. If you would read it one more time for us. I think it's verse 7 and 8.